Okay, guys, this episode of The Fosters is tackles a this review of The Fosters tackles a very serious issue about suicide. The story and reviews of this episode will have various things to do about suicide. So if you don't want to watch this one, don't watch it. If you have a very big problem about suicide and suicide in general, don't watch this one. If you're not okay with suicide in general, don't watch this one. But if you're fine with it, just continue watching this review. This is just a disclaimer. This is just a disclaimer for those who have a trigger word whose suicide is a trigger word. So for those who have that trigger, don't watch this video because this video will have big talks about suicide and death. So yeah. So this episode. So what's up, guys? Back me is here with Fosters, season 3, episode 16, EQ. So this episode starts with Mariana reading a book that staff will be teaching in her class, and then she goes to class and Nick tries to apologize about what happened the other night, and Mariana's like, bro, do you know what your problem is? And he's like, you have no emotional intelligence. And he's like, what's that? And she's like, see? So Monty gets alerted from one of the students that Brandon's play could lead to teen suicide. See? If you don't want to watch this video because of my topics of this video, don't watch this one. But because some people Brandon's play is inappropriate, so Callie informs Stephanie that she and AJ are kind of dating, and so yeah, so anyway, Brandon gets informed about RJ inappropriate, and Brandon's like, how is RJ inappropriate? It's not a trigger word for suicide. It's Shakespeare. Shakespeare wrote it. So she's like, and Leah's like, Brandon, don't do anything. She'll handle it. But Brandon, he does something. When he sees Sally Benton is the one doing it, he's like, how is teen suicide inappropriate, Sally? And and Brandon reps up one of her petitions, and she starts thinking about how her friend's boyfriend hung herself after her boyfriend broke up with her, and she's like, teen suicide is a very big problem, Brandon. And he's like, I'm not trying to make a joke out of it. Shakespeare wrote this. So yeah. So anyway, so yeah. So Brandon. So she's like, Brandon, I said I'd handle it, and Monty's like, you better apologize to Sally Benton. And it's just like, he ripped up one petition. How is that? Is that due for an apology? Well, anyway, so yeah, so they hold a vote and start talking about teen suicide and how it's bad and yeah. But Brandon's like, in the words of Shakespeare, Shakespeare is not, what Shakespeare wrote is not bad. It is good. But Shakespeare wrote it. That's why it's called tragedy for a reason. And Brandon says there is no woe more than a Juliet in her Romeo. So I just love that. But anyway, yeah. So during the thing, Callie gets a call from Rita's daughter, Chloe, saying that she's gonna end her life, saying that it would be better if she wasn't around. So Chloe basically Callie, worried about her, goes to talk to Rita, and Rita is basically like, Callie, she's been through this with Chloe. Chloe has said this multiple times, saying that she was gonna end her life, and all it was for money. So she's like, she's your own daughter, and she's like, does this really have to do with? Did you only come here to reenact what happened between you and me, Callie? And she's like, no, I just thought you'd want to help your daughter. and yeah, so basically Callie just goes to her daughter and is basically since she's lost her job, since Chloe's lost her job, she has no money, and since her mom won't give her any money, she's like, Callie, would you give me money? Yeah. Since yeah, well anyway. So yeah. So yeah, during the so yeah. Anyway. Anyway, yeah. So some people vote for Shakespeare for Romeo and Juliet to go down, and some vote for it to stay up. So, but since yeah, so yeah, so Brennan's like, since there's nothing he can do, and they can't do it anywhere else. But Marion Nick takes Marion to his warehouse, and he's like, hey, this could be a perfect place for us to do Romeo and why don't you use the warehouse for your show? And she's like, what? You're totally her hero. And they kiss. So prior to that, Jesus, for some reason, decided to water down the liquor bottle and get drunk. And he asked Nick for a drive home. Mariana, thinking that Nick got her brother drunk, yelled at him, but Jesus is like, but Jesus and Mariana talk about it later, and Mariana is like, hey, haven't you done before? And she's like, yeah, but so, and he's like, just leave him alone. So Mariana goes to Nick, and she's like, I'm sorry. Jesus said she wasn't drinking with him, and yeah, so basically, Steph is at this like thing, and one of her students is acting out, and yeah, so Steph said that she's strong, that she's strong or something, saying tenacious, and a bunch of other stuff. So this guy, Javier, is like, hey, why isn't there any good stuff? And he throws out the hummus, and stuff's like, get out, bro. And he's like, I'm out to be here. And she's like, would you rather go to Julie? So he gets out, but Gabe finds Jesus drunk, and he goes to the foster house. He's like, I found him at my work site like this. He's been out for 10 years. He didn't even know Jesus was. He said he was 18. I told him to come back. I told him not to, when he told me who he was, I told him to never come back. But that hasn't stopped him. You gotta keep your son away from him, and you gotta keep your son away from him, and yeah, and it was hard for him. He did his time. He thought he and Anna were in love. He did his time for 10 years, and it was hard for him to get his job. So yeah, Lena's like, so Steph's like, yells at Jesus, saying that, saying, yeah, she's saying that water on the bottle is alcoholic behavior, and Jesus is like, and going behind your back to meet your birth father, even after he said not to, and he just is like, stop, I'll never do it again, and Steph says, I don't think you do get it. He doesn't want a relationship with you, all smart on it, and that sucks, and that sucks, but life's a crapper sometimes, but he's grounded definitely, and yeah, Steph kind of went over the line there by saying that how his birth father doesn't want a relationship with him or Mariana. Yeah, Mariana even meets Gabe for the first time. So yeah, so basically the sex offender registry or the sleep offender registry is like a life sentence to Gabe. He can't even get 5 years of school, and he's not some guy who goes terrorizing kids. But anyway, yeah. So anyway, Mariana. So Mariana goes. So Mariana goes to comfort Jesus, and Jesus is like. So Jesus say so. Jesus is like, I don't want to go to Steph's class, and yeah. and she's like, you haven't been acting appropriately. I know you're sad about wrestling, about Flintwood wrestling and your birth father, but you haven't been appropriately. So she basically said, go upstairs and get ready before I kick your ass and don't kick your butt and don't think that I don't. And Lee is like, aren't you being a little hard on Jesus? And she's like, yeah. So she's yeah. So she's like, yeah. Yeah, so she's like, she's taking Jesus to class with her so she can find what his future is. And she's like, aren't you being a little hard? Telling him his butterflies relation, telling him life's a crapper. And he's like, it's reality, his or yours. And she's like, doesn't come from a place of stern. That comes out of a place of tough love. So yeah. So Steph from that she got her breasts removed and that the ones that she's been wearing are pads. So yeah. So Brandon kind of says as Sally's walking through the hall, Brandon says, hey, things off campus, you don't have to come, but yeah. And Sally goes into Lena's room saying that Monty kissed her, which is kind of like, yeah. So yeah. So anyway, back with Chloe. Chloe takes all of her pills and attempts to overdose and attempting suicide, but Callie and Rhea are there, and Callie and Rhea take her to the hospital where Rhea and Chloe reconcile, and Rhea says she'll help her, making this Rhea's final appearance in the entire series. So this episode was okay. It was dark. That's why I did the trigger warning for anyone who doesn't like suicide. I did the trigger warning. We're done talking about suicide. But anyway, yeah. So I hope next episode's lighthearted. This episode was dark. But yeah, so for Rhea's last appearance in the entire series, it just didn't feel justified. Like, her last appearance was Rocky Silent Callie, which was okay. But I feel like if she appeared more, yeah. So this is also her daughter, probably second to last appearance in the entire series. It's Rhea's last appearance, so I don't know who'll be taking over Rhea's duties at Girls United from now on. Probably Michelle, but anyway, yeah. So this episode was dark as crap. It talked about suicide, Romeo and Juliet, and just so dark. And I totally agree with Courtney. Callie and Brandon are star crossovers, totally. But anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Hope you guys have a wonderful night, and I'll see you next up, Foster.